ask me all the time, should I get help in staging? Should I stage my home? So welcome, Heather. Appreciate you being here. And why don't we just start a little bit about how'd you get in the business of staging?
I got in the business back in about 2011 in the Bay Area, where I was born and raised. And I was lucky enough to connect with a very established real estate broker who eventually became a mentor to me. But she not only hired me to run her in-house staging operation in the Bay Area in Walnut Creek, she trusted me with a tremendous amount of responsibility and freedom. And in about 3 months, I went from never staging a home to staging 17 vacant listings for her, and just hit the ground running, really. So she was really my start. I was in the right place at the right time, and thank you. Shout out Terry Lynn Fisher, Dudum Real Estate in Walnut Creek. She's phenomenal and still rocking and rolling today.
Yeah, I love that. There's times where if I go through a bunch of homes through the Auburn, Grass Valley area, and I'll walk in and not even looking at your card, I can immediately go, okay, I know who to stage this house, because you're just so good at it. And I want to share some pictures here in just a moment for something. So welcome, Kat. How are you? So we're here with Heather Burns and discussing staging and the importance of staging. So why don't we go ahead and discuss a little bit about the benefits of staging, of why you feel there's benefits of staging.
Sure. There are so many benefits to staging. It's hard to know where to begin. But really, right now, especially, we're in such a digital marketplace, and staging really ensures that you have pretty pictures. So I believe that professional photography and professional home staging go hand in hand. It is not enough to just have wonderful photography. You really need to care about the content of what is in those photos. So focusing on having pretty pictures, that's how we attract buyers. And I really believe in the power of making the best first impression, because you only get that opportunity once. And as we know, as days on market tick upwards, offers tend to come down in price. So staging ensures beautiful pictures, a better online presence, stronger first impression, but also only 8% of buyers can really see past your stuff. So if you're in an occupied listing and you're trying to sell the home, but I'm noticing all the magnets on the refrigerator or collections on the counters, I'm not even able to see your upgraded backsplash. So really, staging's about creating a marketable product and thinking of a property as a product. And that's really the focus of what we do. And it is so few people that can see what we're selling in an occupied scenario, and in a vacant scenario, being memorable. When you're clicking through listings of empty rooms, you're not memorable. So
that's true. That's true. I know that's important, especially right now. That we always explain to say, hey, the first couple pictures are going to make it or break it for you. There's too many swiping up downs. If you don't have that right picture to draw them in, then I agree with you on that vacant. So let's share some of your work here on this. I'm going to bring this in here and come in, and there we go. So let's go ahead and look, and Heather, you'll be able to see if you see the picture right there. Yeah, so this is a one that you've done recently on one of our new builds is what we have. And so take us kind of through when you walk into a vacant house, like what do you kind of look for, and how do you figure it all out where you want to put all your furniture? Because I know you have a lot of it.
Yes, we do. Sometimes, usually it's the house that dictates the style in which we stage. So some people say, you have a specific aesthetic, but I really like to let the house determine that. And so what's appropriate for that particular property and what's going to accentuate its best features. So when I walk through the door, just as any buyer would, I'm looking at what are the best things about this property, and maybe what are a few things I'd like to detract from? You know, what do I want to enhance? Because we've got these wonderful open concept spaces. We want to show that off. But a lot of times people aren't sure how to set up an open concept space. So when I see those large great rooms or entry halls, I know that we have to warm up the space by creating an inviting environment. And how do we do that? With appropriate scale, mixing colors and textures to draw the eye where we want it to go. In that particular home, it has a nice corner window that looks out to these oak trees. So I really wanted the buyers to look towards the corner window and the focal point being the fireplace. We want to enhance those focal points and also create calm and quiet space by not filling every inch of the property with too much accessory or over decorating. We kind of need a place for our eyes to rest, and we learn that in staging. We need a calmness in a space to feel comfortable. So that's something we try to do.
I loved when we had our before when we actually had open houses. When we had, I don't know how many people do we have in there. It was a good 30 or 40 people that came, and it was just so nice because you just felt like we were like in that living room sitting in there, but you felt comfortable. I love that how you said that word, is that it just was all spaced so perfectly where we just all were able to have a conversation and feel comfortable on that. So I want to get into something important too, is that with kind of the situation that we're going through now, is I know that you shared with me before we went live here that you had done a lot of occupied staging. And I know I go to a lot of homes that, well, they have a lot of stuff. In some homes, they don't have enough stuff. But what do you do when you walk in? There's a delicate, I try to walk there and say, okay, if I see a piece that I can't even walk down the hallway, that's got to go. So how do you go through and help somebody do an occupied staging and kind of run us through that a little bit?
Sure. I feel like occupied staging is so critical to the process because, again, being and living in a home while it's listed for sale is it's a very inconvenient process to live in a listing. So we want to expedite that process. So prep work, we start with the consultation, and at the consultation, this is when we're going to tour the home with the seller and learn all about the home, the history of the home, identify any faults, any cosmetic issues, anything that may be needing to be addressed, such as carpet cleaning, touch-up painting, window washing. These are all things that most of us need to do or should do when listing their home, living in it or not. So we're going to discuss all of those elements. But I also use my very high-tech tool. I use blue painter's tape, and I mark items throughout the home. So as we're touring, I will mark items that need to be removed. So for most of us, our homes are cozy and they're filled with a lifetime of possessions, and that's the way they should be because they're our homes and we need to be comfortable in our home and in our environment. But that's very different from the way we should sell a home. When thinking about selling, we need to think about who our buyers are and what they're looking for. And I call it a guest mentality. When I come into someone's home, I feel as though I'm a guest. We don't want buyers to feel as though they're a guest. We want them to envision themselves living and how they want to use that space and see their family in that home. So depersonalizing is a critical part of that process. Editing, a nice way of saying packing up, and removing those items that I've marked with the blue tape. This is all the prep for the staging. So after the consultation, then you receive a lengthy room by room write-up, which will walk you through the process, everything you need to do and consider doing to prep the home before we come back and stage, take those photos and get it up on the MLS. So it's crucial, that consultation.
Yeah. I just want to say that you've got some fans in the house. We got Rika over here says Heather's the best. So I don't know if you can see that on our
Oh,
side from that, but that's pretty cool. So, because I think
no,
you've done some staging for her as well. So let's
very
again welcome everyone. We're talking to Heather here with Heather's Houses, staging, the importance of staging, and why to stage. And I want to get into a little bit in regards to approximate costs and things, because I know that there's different levels. I know you've come in and actually staged portions of the houses, not some of the others. So can you share a
sure.
little bit of the current today's costs and stuff on that for you?
Sure, absolutely. Most companies do offer a variety of staging packages,
Mhm.
as do I. Keep in mind with the occupied staging we were just discussing, occupied staging is always going to be less expensive than a vacant staging, although vacant stagings are more common.
Mhm.
Occupied, that's because you're bringing in less inventory. We're trying to utilize majority of the homeowner's possessions, usually their larger pieces if we're able, and then just enhancing with decor items such as art, mirrors, lamps, bedding, etc. But the occupied would start always with the consultation, and that's usually a flat rate price. Some companies will give you a price per hour, things, things like that. But we do $250 for your initial consultation, and that could take an hour or two depending on the situation. And then you'll receive that write up. From there, we would bid the actual staging based on inventory and labor needed. For vacant, it's a lot more straightforward. With the vacant stagings, we're able to go out and view a property pretty quickly and get you a proposal. With those proposals, I always offer 3 price points.
Mhm.
The most popular usually being the middle price point, which I call a primary stage. A full stage is what it sounds like. A full stage is everything. We're going to furnish the entire home and any exterior spaces. So if you've got a deck, a patio, poolside area, we do it all. And that would be a full staging. That's going to be at the highest price point because of the amount of labor and inventory required. The mid price point, which is very popular, I feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck with this one. And as we know, everybody's on a budget when you're selling.
Mhm.
So the mid price point is going to be a primary. That's going to cover all the common rooms. So your entry, living, dining, kitchen, family room, etc., as well as included your master suite.
Okay.
So that's the mid price. The minimal pricing is really about just getting the best possible first impression within a budget. So the minimal price point is just going to be kind of your living and entry area. Whatever you see when you first come through that front door, that's your minimal staging package. It's only going to include those spaces. But I really believe that you can make a significant impact with only staging a minimal package if you do it right and you completely finish those spaces. There are other types of staging that I'm sure you've seen quite a bit of, Eric, and especially
Mhm.
in our current market, that's more of a vignette or accessory staging. And that's
Mhm.
where someone's coming in and they're kind of spreading out accessories throughout an otherwise vacant home. So that is also a type of staging. That's not something that I do or believe is effective in any way, but that would be at an even lower price point.
Mhm.
I believe it makes the most sense to focus on creating an environment that a buyer can sit down in and connect with and experience. Um, and so that's what we do, even in a minimal package.
Yeah, I know that there's so many times when I go through your homes and we're getting to the end, and people always ask me, "Can I buy that? Is that for sale?" Because you have such good taste in your purchasing of your. So I'm sure you probably have gotten offers a lot of trying to purchase your purchase your
And
inventory. It's
yep,
what you do. So let's go
we
ahead
do.
and close by number one. Why don't you tell everybody how you get a hold of you? And I'm going to do that again. But how would they get a hold of you if they want to meet with you and have a consultation?
Sure. So our website is heathershouses.com. So you can message us through there or give me a call or text always. My number is 925 200 925-200-7220. That is, again, 925-200-7220. And we're at heathershouses.com. We're also now on Instagram, so we can be found at Heather's Houses Home Staging. If you want to follow us there, we update that pretty often. And we're also easily found on Google with lots of ratings and hows.
Good. So. All right. So here's our last question here for you today. Is that some people say, "Wow, I can't afford staging. It just seems too expensive to me." It's like, do I feel, maybe they feel like it's a waste of money. So why don't you share with us about the statistics that you know that are national statistics about what the difference of maybe the price somebody could possibly get, the difference of staging and non-staging, please.
Sure. Definitely, staging is a proven market tool. So I know it's still a newer concept for a lot of people. The industry's only been around for about 25 years or so. But we do have a lot of data on return on investment. So we know that staging significantly reduces days on market, going back to attracting buyers with those pretty pictures and also creating a memorable experience. We see through the National Association of Realtors' most recent study published in 2019. You can find it at realtor.com or NAR's website. It's about a 30-page study called The Profile of Home Staging. And some statistics that I love are that realtors report that staged versus unstaged listings. So these are their comps in the same neighborhood, same price point. The homes that were professionally staged are selling 87% faster. That is a significant reduction to days on market and carrying costs for your clients. So especially in an occupied situation where you really don't want to be living in that home for months on end. And we know the offering prices will go down if you're sitting on the market. So reducing days on market significantly by implementing professional home staging, as well as you really make your money back in most scenarios. The average cost of staging nationally being reported at 1% of list price. So I would say here locally in our foothills and Sacramento markets, most of my colleagues and I aren't quite at that 1% price point. In the Bay Area, I can say absolutely that's where your proposals are gonna hit most likely. So on a $500,000 listing, you're looking at an average price point in our current market in Sacramento area in the foothills of about a 2,500. So that's 0.5% rather than 1%. 1% being about $5,000 for your average staging proposal in the Bay Area or a more urban market. So if you're investing that $2,500 in our local market on a $500,000 listing, the National Association of Realtors report tells us that on average, you're looking at a 6% on the conservative side to 20% increased sales price. So I would say all day long, if you give me $2,500 and I give you $30,000 back, if you can get $530 for that listing that would have otherwise been $500, wouldn't we do that all day long?
Absolutely. Nope, it is, especially with you. So that's awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So Rika is correct. Heather is the best. So thank you very much. I appreciate you taking your time and sharing with that. I know in today's world with the situations, we want to wish everyone be safe out there, certainly by staging your homes. And if you need to get a hold of Heather, she's shared her information. I'll also post that as well. You reach back out to me and I can put you in contact with her as well. So Heather, thank you very much for spending the time with us today, and have a good day. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.